The Seminole Headlines, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Look at all the boys. We're all kind of in our little boxes here. It's like a game show or the Brady Bunch, however you want to look at it. But welcome in. Wanted to make sure. Guys will be doing interviews today with the newer players, so we had to get this in. This is a pre-record, but it's day of. It's day of, just a couple hours before we'd normally be on.
Old school headlines.
That's right. And we'll get to your questions too. I think there's some good. I saw a good one right before we came on, so I'm excited about that. We'll get to those in a moment. As always, thanks to our friends at Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
I got a great DM on Twitter because you guys know my DMs are always open.
They're wide open.
I got a message from Jarhad who said he got some registers. By the way, Register Sausage is really, really good. I bought a few packs and had it on the bun for the family at a barbecue, and it was a huge hit. So he's just letting me know. He's like thanking us for making him a star at the barbecue because all he did was break out some registers. We're making people heroes is what we're doing.
Hold on real quick. I got a DM too. It's I saw you at the gym yesterday.
Oh no.
I like the wait, are we not just sharing DMs? It's got to be sausage related?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Registers related, I should say.
Registers related.
Sorry, go ahead, Ira.
Off to a flying start.
Thanks, Corey.
Yep.
Your DMs are a little bit different than mine, man.
Right, sure.
They always have been. But if you want some delicious Register sausage and you live outside of the Southeast, go to registermeats.com, have it delivered. They'll have it shipped to you in a cooler with ice. Comes fresh and delicious. Or if you live in this part of the country, God's country, we like to call it.
Yeah.
You can go to a lot of your grocery stores, and if they don't carry, they should carry it. If it's a good grocery store, I bet they carry it. But if they don't carry it, go talk to the meat manager, heart to heart. Just like, look, man, pull him aside, put your arm around him, just explain, look, man, we want your store to be the right kind of store, a register store.
Right.
You need to do the right thing, and they'll take care of you.
I like the way you describe that, Ira. From here on out, when we're driving, when I'm with the family or something, I'll say, that's a register store. They know what they're doing over there. Here's a non-register store, guys. Let's just steer clear of this.
Don't ever walk in there.
No. You think it would be okay with Ben if we just got some Register Sausage logos and just like go to stores to carry it and just slap it on the front door, the window, like without even asking?
I think stores would like that too. Ben would love it. The stores, I think, who you'd have to talk to about it. But what are they going to do?
We don't ask questions at Register Sausage.
Yep.
I'm calling out to Ben right now. I want a Register Sausage shirt. I want like a workout Register Sausage shirt, just the logo right there on the chest, man. I agree.
I want it. Get it done,
Go.
Ben.
It's another way to advertise for Ben. All right. How many days till Florida State kicks off, guys?
Less than 100.
Is it 100? Is it 89?
Less than 100.
It's way less than 100. Yeah. We're in the, guys, it's not that far. It's not that far to the start of college football anyhow. I just got back from New Orleans, and I was wearing a Florida State shirt in one of the local establishments there, and an LSU fan sat down next to me. And we had a very good conversation about last year's game, which he attended and was planning to come to Orlando. And so it kind of fueled the fire over a couple of beers. It was a nice conversation. He actually complimented, not that we need it. We don't need LSU's love and approval, but he complimented Florida State fandom. He was like, those fans brought it last year. He said he was very impressed. He didn't know why he didn't expect that, but he didn't. He didn't expect it to be the streets of New Orleans littered with the garnet and gold as they were. I said, yeah, man, this place here, because it was in the French Quarter when I ran into him. I said, this was all garnet. He said, yeah, absolutely. He goes, we didn't get there till the night before, and looked around and was like, where are the LSU fans? I said, that's what we said. Where are the LSU fans?
It was like a bowl week without the other team showing up.
It was crazy. Now, I get it. They go to New Orleans all the time, and so probably, whatever. We'll just make the drive over. We've been to New Orleans a gazillion times. Plus, FSU fans were starving.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we were starving to be good, starving to matter, starving to play in a game that felt big, and it certainly checked all of those boxes. We were starving to win a game like that, and we got it, however ugly the ending was. And, of course, we spent a lot of time thinking about that and recollecting what that meant, but we'll do the same for this year. He said, how's the stadium in Orlando? I told him it was a dump.
Oh, yeah. It's true, but even if it was a great Taj Mahal, you should have told him it was a dump.
Right.
Try to convince as many LSU fans not to come. I was going to say, it won't be 50-50 in Orlando, right? There won't be 35,000 LSU fans that come to an Orlando game, right?
They travel well, man. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that if they're distributed that way, like they were, where they each get a certain amount to sell, then I think it probably will be. They're not going to have a hard time selling tickets for LSU fans to come to this game, and they ended their season really well. There's a lot of excitement there.
Yeah, I guess. It's just that this is the biggest game on Florida State's schedule. LSU has 3 or other games that are this. They play Alabama, they play Auburn, they play all these other teams. And it's Orlando, and I love Orlando, guys. You know that. I should be on the Chamber of Commerce in Orlando. Orange Avenue? Are you kidding me? It's one of the great stretches of road in this country.
Orange Blossom Trail?
Orange Blossom Trail. That's what I meant. Yeah, OBT.
Could have just gone with Church Street. Yeah.
OBT, Church Street, great places. I mean, it's not New Orleans. I mean, Florida State fans went because it was a big game, but also because of the city and the experience. I don't know that Orlando offers the same experience, but then there is Disney World. So I guess people will come for that and go take in the game as well.
Well, they'll come because they lost to Florida State last year. They've been owned by Florida State all time. I think they're 2-8 against Florida State now. I think they feel like their team, just like we think our team at Florida State is going to be a playoff team. They think they did win the SEC West, and I don't know. I feel like it's a big game, man.
Think back to the way that radio guy that Jeff had on was talking before last year's game. Imagine how he's talking now.
Oh, yeah.
They're super fired up. When you sat down with that LSU fan, how long did it take before Perkins' name came up?
So he was talking about that it was interesting to watch how it gelled over the course of the first 4 or 5 games, like how they were disappointed with certain usage of certain players in the first 3 or 4 games. And then by midseason, you really, really realized, like a kid like Perkins, and the studs that they had on this team. And this is what I was saying going into last year, and I'll say it again going into this year. LSU has recruited exceedingly well for the last number of years, and they typically do, but they really, if you go look at their classes, it's rooted in superstar talent. Their blue chip ratio is off the charts. They have a ton of talent. So it's not surprising they're good. It's not surprising they're going to be good, and it is a cool thing that Florida State won that game, and now both teams are really, really good, and there won't be any – it's the first game sort of working through some things, but – both teams will hit the ground running, I think, this year. I think they both know. There's a real good chance, oddly enough, and I think we get a question like this next hour, but there's an outside chance you'd play LSU again. We keep talking about this with Clemson. I mean, there's an outside chance you'd play LSU again if you go to the college football playoffs. So I think both fan bases, rightfully, just as you would be if you were an Alabama or Georgia fan or Ohio State fan, I think you're looking at this year as you're a playoff team.
I think the one thing I think Corey was right about in his first take, wasn't in totally agreement with him, but one thing I think he was definitely right about was last year, the reason the fans were so excited about that game wasn't just like excitement about this team. It was a chance to go have a party in New Orleans. Yeah. And it was the location. That was a big part of it, because I don't know in our heart of hearts if everybody really was confident that last year's team was going to be a great team or a very good team. I mean, a lot of people, we thought.
Why would anybody have been?
Right. Yeah. So it's totally different now. Like the fans going into this game now you go into it with real, there's money on the line. Like there's a real importance to this game, and you have something to lose. Whereas I think last year you kind of looked at it as like, man, you got nothing to lose. If you lose at LSU, LSU in New Orleans, it ain't that big of a deal. And you could still do, you can still go 8-4, 9-3, whatever it is. This is different, man. There's a lot more on this one.
I think you'll have I think it's going to be like 65-35 Florida State fans. But I looked it up. I'm not going to tell you the number of days we are away from the game. I'm going to give you a player, and his uniform number is the days of. And I think this is right. And this is a weird jersey.
Current player?
No. And it's a jersey number that hasn't had a lot of greatness associated with it. But I'm not even sure this is the right number. But I think
this is going great already.
DJ Norris. We are DJ Norris days away.
So you're going to forgive me when I tell you I don't remember DJ Norris's number.
Do you even remember him?
I'm going to say 82.
There it is, Ira. I think that's right. Yeah, I think it is. I'm not sure. For some reason that's the number.
We're celebrating something we're not sure is correct at all.
But I got it right.
I did, Ira.
I got what he thinks is right. Right.
That's all that matters.
That's how game shows should really work.
Yeah,
exactly.
That sounds about right.
Trebek is like, yeah, I think so.
That seems
you got the
reasonable.
board.
You're in the same century. Yeah, that's good.
You got the board.
Was his number really 82 as a defensive end? Did he originally come as a tight end?
I think he came as a DN the whole time.
Oh,
I think he's the one that his mom recorded Ron Zook leaving a nasty message to him when he decommitted from Florida to go to Florida State. It was the year that Ron Zook literally got everybody he recruited except for DJ Norris. And no offense to DJ Norris, but I don't know that he anguished too much over that one with the guys that came.
Well, apparently it hurt his feelings enough to call the kid and leave a dirty message. I mean, gracious, like a child.
Well, that was Ron Zook.
Yeah, you brought up something that
82 days away though, Jeff. I know. That's not. We're getting there.
I told you we were a lot closer than you realized.
Yeah.
You were out there guessing in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're 82 days, and by the way, we're in the 70s until the start of college football. Low 70s until the start of college football. Yeah, those Thursday games leading up to everything. So or mid 70s. But anyhow, we're right there for the start of college football, guys. Let's just lie to ourselves for the next 6 shows, and we're good. Hey, good job, Ira.
Look at that.
It's a young
old
DJ
82. Can you think of another 82? Either one of you? Jeff, I should ask you, I guess. You've been calling Florida State.
Yeah, you know what, Corey, when you said it, I was like, I can't think. Now, I will tell you, for as much as you and I know about Florida State football history, years, games, players, when they played, what their stats were, we do this all the time together. You're exceedingly better than me at remembering specific jersey numbers.
The important stuff.
I remember the famous numbers of, I'm going to get you Peter Warwick and guys like that. But I will tell you,
Kendall Pope.
I don't remember a lot of jerseys the way that some people remember jerseys from their favorite football teams forever. I've never been a big jersey guy, a number guy. I've never been a big number guy. I've just remembered the players themselves, what they accomplished and what years they played. But I've never really cared all that much about what number they were. When I was a little kid, I loved the number 8 because of Willie Stargell.
Oh, Cal Ripken, you mean? Cal Ripken.
Willie Stargell, obviously.
Right.
And I always had that. And then I loved the number 33 because as a little kid, I really
Eddie Murray. You loved Eddie Murray.
I love Tony Dorsett. Tony Dorsett, the running back. I really love Tony Dorsett.
Turns out Jeff's a huge Orioles fan.
Who knew?
Yeah. What was Jim Palmer's number?
By the way, I will say, Ira, I always loved that Cal was number 8 as well, because if you're going to have a legend like Willie Stargell be represented anywhere, hey, Cal did the number right. He did a pretty good job.
You're going to be nice to Cal, so I'll be nice to Pops.
How could you be mean to Pops? He was
man,
great.
I hate all of them.
Yep, all
hate. There's hate in this heart, Jeff. You know that.
You hate Omar Marino?
Oh, man, all of those.
You hate Rennie Stennett?
All of them.
Kip Tekulve?
Oh,
Bill Madlock?
Glass-wearing nerd?
You hate Bill Madlock?
How did Kip Tekulve get in the major leagues? I mean,
I'd love to see
the
him
Orioles, though. He dominated the
Orioles
in
now.
Games. Him and Rick Rhoden.
I'm going to throw 64 miles an hour underhand.
Hey.
Yeah.
You hate the Cobra? You hate Dave Parker?
Speaking of underhand throwers.
Yeah, he doesn't hate the Cobra. See, he came around.
It's hard to hate Dave Parker.
Speaking of underhand throwers, it's not going to matter. Oklahoma's still going to be awesome. That's pretty sweet that girl's leaving.
Yeah.
She's going to Nebraska, which doesn't help anybody really, but it helps I guess it helps the rest of the country that Oklahoma doesn't have the best pitcher in the country anymore. So that's cool.
I like that. Corey, I got to give you credit. I saw the story, but I mean, you cared at all? That's impressive. I mean,
well, only because of what I just watched the week before, and I don't like that team that much.
Hey,
it's
buddy,
ridiculous that they dominate like that. Get her off the team, and they did.
I hate to disappoint you. You're going to be good again next year.
Yeah, but at least they might be beatable because they won't have the best pitcher in the United States. They'll still have the best offense, and they'll have maybe the 4th best pitcher in the United States, but they won't have the best pitcher in the United States.
I did. And I did want to say one last thing on softball on that topic. Because going back to I felt weird just kind of like encapsulating like what happened in those 2 games. I didn't want to present it in what I wrote that like they were unbeatable. It was one of those matchups where you had to get some breaks. Like you can beat that team. Like somebody could have beat Georgia last year in football if some things went right. But like if the game's just played straight up, and you get robbed of a home run, well, you're not going to win that game. I mean,
Right.
it's just, that was
But not even a home run, a 3-run homer.
Right.
I mean, that was crazy. And you got a strike zone that goes to the other dugout.
Right.
That didn't help either.
They've got to collegiate baseball. I watched some of it over the weekend, obviously, just here and there. I was pretty much out and about on the town, but this happens all the time. When I watch softball and I watch baseball, I just think there's no way. I mean, I get it. It's not professional, but you cannot have – it's just not that hard to have a strike zone. I'm sorry. I don't understand. I watch these games in college baseball. You've got some really elite teams and elite players – calling balls this far off the plate. For those that can't see and they're listening on the radio, I'm about a foot off the plate.
Yeah.
They're calling balls and strikes, and it's just that's impossible to be that bad.
What's amazing is how good the pitchers and the hitters are. Like when we're watching at home and we're watching Major League Baseball, if it's one of the channels that has the box and you can actually see the strike zone, right? If a ball is like not even half a ball off the plate or out of zone, they know. The hitters know, the pitchers know. Like you can see their reactions. No, that's exactly where I want it to be. I wanted it to be on the black. It was on the black. I should have got that call. If they can know it that well, like why can't the guy standing still know it?
And if
or the lady in softball.
Even if you want to say that it's outside the box a quarter of an inch or 2 inches, as long as you repeat it over and over and over again, and I have an idea that you're calling an inch high or an inch low or an inch in or out, okay. But, man, it is wildly inconsistent. They miss 6 inches in, 7 inches away, 4 inches up. You're like, this is unhittable. I can't hit that pitch. It's in the other batter's box. You can't call that a strike.
I can relate to that as a parent. This weekend, we all had great trips. Ira was in Oklahoma City, Jeff was in New Orleans, and I was in Hoover, Alabama. Brady played a game this weekend against a good pitcher, and he took 3 straight strikes. I was standing down the right field line watching the game. I don't like to be in the hub with all the other parents. Not our parents, but the other team's parents.
I'm the same way. I was the same way, buddy.
So there's actually a restraining order, I think.
Well, that too. I can't be that close to one of the parents on the other team. But so he takes 3 straight strikes and strikes out. And he's not having a good season anyway. And I'm like, man, what in the world? And he's running back to his position. I'm like, dude, I didn't come all the way to Hoover. I don't care if he strikes out. I'm like, but swing the bat. You're here to swing. He's like, Dad, they weren't strikes. And I'm like, I know, but we're still here to swing. His next at bat, I go behind home plate. Literally, and the kid's throwing like 82 miles an hour, which is hard for a 14-year-old. The first pitch is the exact same pitch that Devin Flaherty was rung up on. Like it's this far in the other batter's box, like a foot in the other. It's on the other side of the chalk.
Can't hit it.
And it's the closest I've ever came to yelling at an umpire, which I didn't. I just said, Brady, that's a great take, but from now on, I guess you have to swing at it. That's all I said. But I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, I understood it. Like
Corey's
that first.
He's slick.
The umpire doesn't know I'm talking crap about him. He doesn't realize that.
But it's not me telling the umpire to get the crap out of his eyes.
Yeah,
where he's missing a game. But I was like, at that moment, I'm like, okay, Brady, I get it. Like that is unhittable. Literally, it's an unhittable pitch when a kid's throwing that hard. And I don't want my son swinging at a ball that's that far outside because he couldn't do anything with it anyway. So, but we won the game. I just wanted you guys to know that.
I enjoy hearing the parenting trials of Corey.
So I will say this: the last inning, we came back and won the game, and right in the middle of a comeback, he calls another one of those pitches that's literally a foot outside, and other teams' parents that are waiting to play go, "Oh Lord!" And the umpire goes, "I don't want to hear any of that again."
Yeah.
And our parents were like, "Well, we didn't even say it, but they're right." And it got into a whole thing. Yeah.
They're aghast.
They are aghast at your strike zone. It is literally a foot outside.
We got to be more regimented today, boys. We'll be taking a break right now. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Hey, folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads. We've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks, and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BaranoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
License CAC 1816-186.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hey, this is Dr. Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. If you have a pain in the neck, bring them to Finn Chiropractic because neck pain, low back pain, headaches, numbness, and tingling can make your significant other or family member very irritable.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord. We developed the Phenomenal Health Exam to get to the cause of your problem. You can schedule your appointment at finnchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
Whether the pain is in your neck or someone else's, come to Finn Chiropractic.
Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Hey, so really quick, Ira, I forgot to ask you. So that was, that's an arduous trip there to Oklahoma City to have to turn around really quickly and hightail. When you're there, do you interact with any of the Oklahoma fans? Do you get a chance? Do you interact with any of the Florida State fans, or are you just all business and out the door?
Definitely some Florida State fans. We actually had a lot of Headlines fans, Warchant fans, Chef Cameron, Corey Clark, Aslan fans.
Cool. Aslan fans.
Yeah, that was at the camp on Sunday. That wasn't in Oklahoma City, but on Sunday at the camp, one of the parents told me that they were looking for Aslan. But man, it was awesome. People actually came up to the press box to say hey, and talk to some fans, just kind of milling around. Some of the parents, and then also, I didn't interact with a whole lot of the Oklahoma fans because, especially after I tweeted about the strike zone, and I got, 10 million Oklahoma softball fans screaming at me on Twitter. I decided to, when I walked in the stadium, I just kind of put my press pass in my pocket and made my way in.
So they would debate that strike zone?
Oh yeah. No, those were all strikes. One
They
guy,
thought, oh, well, that's ridiculous.
one guy actually went and like he somehow like got digitized the video of her pitches to show that it was really weird. It's like he had some sort of software to show the arc of the pitch, and he was trying to show that those pitches were actually strikes, that they just broke that much.
Yeah.
From between the plate to the glove,
Oh,
that they went from right over the plate to in the other batter's
That's
spot.
why she's the best in the country, gang.
It's
Her ball breaks 6 feet in a
90
matter
degrees.
of it basically goes 90 degrees. It's like Lee Harvey Oswald shooting a bullet from the
book depository
building. It's just a magic ball that goes sideways as soon as it gets past the plate.
I like the fact that there's a fan out there who's used to dealing with people like Ira.
Well,
he's got a computer program.
He was
ready to
just
go.
waiting. He was itching. He was itching for all these Florida State guys to bitch about the strike zone, about his beloved Oklahoma softball team, and they are a lovable group.
They sure are. Here's the thing. This is the part I really don't understand. Was like, all right, well, you guys were Florida State fans in the 90s, right? And you guys are kicking everybody's ass, just kicking ass on the daily, right?
On the daily.
If you ran into a fan who was complaining about a call in a game that you guys won, and you guys were rolling to a national championship, would that consume you?
No.
Would you feel like you've got to put together the Zapruder film to prove that it was really a strike? I mean, it's just crazy. You haven't lost a softball game in 4 months. You're going to win your third straight national championship, 6 in the last 10 years. You're a dynasty. Why do you give a crap what anybody says about a bad umpire? No, and nobody said the umpire stole the game from Florida State. She was terrible for both teams.
Yeah.
But they were consumed by it. It was just strange, man. Really weird.
I think it's this thought of being put upon, like this idea that we're not recognizing the greatness for what it is and somehow making excuses. And I don't think, listen, and people do that in general. They get out of sorts if somebody disagrees with them or just doesn't see the world in the way that they see the world. And it's polarizing. We see it all the time, but it's especially polarizing online. Of course, you're going to run into people like this online. I mean, I have a feeling if you're standing that's why I asked if you interacted. I would be curious if you were sitting with an Oklahoma fan and you're like, wow, that's 6 inches off the plate. There's a good chance they were like, yeah, that's a terrible call.
I would think, you would hope.
Yeah.
But maybe not. It's hard to know with that group.
I'm just saying, I think the fans might be a little bit different than the players or the coach or the online presence.
Here's Jeff trying to defend Oklahoma fans.
It's
just what he does. It's what he does.
I certainly don't like that Oklahoma softball team, but I feel like this is in general true. Like when you go places and you talk to fans and you're standing there with them, it's a lot different than interacting with them online.
For sure, especially when you look like Corey. I mean, the people are just going to back right down. But I did
get my DMs or slide up in those DMs.
Yeah. I thought I was going to see a great Karen moment. This was pretty funny. Like I was watching from the press box.
Good chance at a softball game, Ira.
Yeah, you're right.
Buddy.
So this lady was in the front row. She had seats in the front row, kind of on the third base side, but close to home plate, but on the front row. Well, the photographers were all jammed up behind home plate. Like, they're all like in this one little area, but they're kind of overflowing a little bit. And this one female photographer is blocking this lady's view. So the lady doesn't just walk over to her and ask her, hey, could you just move over? Like, she stomps over. I'm watching this whole thing, stomps over, starts yelling at her. And the photographer's like, look, I can't get into where I'm supposed to be. I have to shoot the game. Like, I'm sorry. And I get it. Like, if you're in the front row, you want to see the game. She obviously, I don't know how she got front row tickets, but it was obviously went to some effort and expense to get them. But she, instead of just calmly, talking and then going, maybe get an usher or something, she goes and sits back down and takes pictures from her seat to show the girl, this is what I see. So she's showing her camera, this is you in my view. And the girl finally gets up and walks. She's like, okay, I'll move. So she walks, and the lady just kept going after her. She was fixated on this girl, and she's like that other people are getting their views disrupted. And it was just, and then she started coming up towards the press box, and I was like, man, it was like she was waiting for this moment,
Yeah,
and,
this was her moment to.
So I was kind of hoping it was going to go over the top. I get some video, but it didn't escalate.
There you go. Oklahoma fans would have been mad about that. Oh, here he is taking video of our fans. Was it an Oklahoma fan?
Flipping the hell out.
Oh, it's definitely an Oklahoma fan.
One thing I will tell you is that people, whether it's a football game, softball game, or a concert, people are or the movie theaters, people are very particular about their seats and about how their seats are affected by the people around them. I was at the Sanger Theater in New Orleans to see Ryan Adams and the Cardinals, whole family, right? So we had these balcony seats. It's a 100-year-old theater. It's a beautiful place. Walk in, and the guy says, "Oh, you guys are right there in the front of the balcony." And I was like, "Cool," because I got balcony seats right in the center. It's a really – I always wanted to sit in the balcony for a concert there and just do this. So we get up to the second floor, and it's section C, and the guy says, "Oh, listen, pretty much they sold out the entire bottom and just very little of the top. So sold about 2,000 seats to this theater. He sold it out for the bottom. We really didn't sell that many up top. So here's what we're going to do. You can sit anywhere you want up here because there's only going to be a few hundred people. And so you've got anywhere you want, really, as long as it's beyond this row." And we're, "Oh, okay, great." So we get positioned. So I knew this was going to be a problem because fast forward, concert's 5 minutes away from starting. Now the bottom is completely packed and people are starting to come up to the top. And here you go. This woman and her boyfriend come walking over and she's like, "You're in our seats." So then I was like, perhaps that's true. We might be in your seat. But we were told by that gentleman right there, and I pointed to him, that any of these seats are available to us. So if you'd like, we'll just move back one row, or you could just take the row behind us, or you could take right here, or I can move over 4 seats and we can all sit snuggy together despite there being 200 empty seats right around us. And she was like, "Well, but that's my seat."
Well, the dude that was talking to you is in the wrong. That's a crazy way to operate. Like, wait till the concert starts and the people that have the worst seats can move on down to wherever they want from their actual bought seats.
What's crazy, though, is that all around me are empty seats.
Yeah, well,
so
right.
Even if you
I got you.
So even if you think that I'm making it up because I just want to steal their seats, like, you'd be like, "Well, okay, I'll just sit right here. This wide ass open seat that's behind the one that," or because I offered it, "You can have that seat." She's like, "No, but this is my seat." I'm like, "No, I get it. He was telling us to move here. We weren't originally in these seats. He told us we could move here. Yeah, but these are my seats." I'm like, "Oh my God.
But these are my seats.
Fat ass. Just go sit over here."
Well, I think the thought there is, okay, I'll go sit in these seats, and when those people come for their, now I got to get up again because I'm not in my original seat.
Corey, it was wide open.
I
get it. You got to understand.
Some people don't have critical thought.
People are common sense evades some people.
I did like on our flight back from Oklahoma City I think it was a flight to Charlotte. There were a couple of families that wanted to be together but didn't have seats together. And usually they'll
buy your tickets together then, Smith.
usually the flight attendants will ask "Hey, would anybody help?" This flight attendant was not having it. She's like, "No, they're going to sit together because the parents need to be with the kids. So come over here." She wasn't asking anybody.
That is awesome.
I was all for it. I was like, go get it, because we don't need to sit here for an hour and debate it.
No.
Yeah.
Just let's make it happen.
Be authoritative about it. Get them to another seat.
You can't be willy-nilly. That's the whole key. That's true when you're committing a fraud. When you're just walking past the guard, you got to do so with authority. I belong on the field of the Super Bowl. What are you looking at me for? I'm walking up. This is where I go. This is where I am.
Or the kid that pretended he was a kicker and went in Jimbo's locker room at Texas A&M.
Yeah, big time recruit. Or the guy that stole Brady's jersey out of. Didn't he go into when they beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl? He went and stole Brady's jersey.
I thought somebody stole your Brady's jersey. I was like,
"Oh no, nobody would dare do that. That thing's too valuable. That thing's too valuable."
So I want to bring up Florida State recruiting in a second, but we're going to do it on the other side of this. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
All right, headliners, Ira here. By now you know the best way to support our show is to head over to our Shopify store for exclusive gear. Well, Shopify has been so impressed by your support of Seminole Headlines that they want you to know more about how easy it is to elevate your business with the industry-leading tools at Shopify. That right there is the sound of another sale on Shopify, and you'll hear it a lot when you let them revolutionize your business the way they've done for millions of businesses worldwide, just like Seminole Headlines. You can sell anything from fine art to Yay sausage shirts to your wife's crochet, as long as you let her know. And you can also use Shopify for online sales like we do, or even for face-to-face business. They have all-in-one platforms for e-commerce sales and point-of-sale systems, and they allow for seamless marketing via social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Shopify makes the whole process simple so you can focus on what you do best. Their user-friendly tools mean you don't have to get a degree in web marketing or web design in order to sell your merch. When I set up our Seminole Headlines page, I didn't leave the process with a headache. I was done in a few simple clicks. If I can do it, you definitely can do it. This is Possibility powered by Shopify. Now it's your turn. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/warchant. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/warchant, all lowercase, to take your business to the next level today. Be an elite headliner. Go to shopify.com/warchant. Let Shopify elevate your brand the way they did for us at Seminole Headlines.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
Let's take a minute to imagine all the things you can accomplish with help from Southeast Portable Buildings. Are you a hoarder? Hoard some more. Get a storage shed. Mother-in-law moving in with you? Put her in a shed out back. I'm kidding. Still working on that engine that you're going to finish from last summer? Move it out to a new workspace with Southeast Portable Buildings. From she sheds and man caves to repair shops and trophy rooms, the possibilities are only limited to your imagination. Visit Southeast Portable Buildings today.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I want to cop to something. I talk about this now. I got to be careful how I talk about this because I'm not trying to denigrate people who are super into recruiting.
You would never do that.
I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't do that. No. Not on warchant.com.
Nope.
But I am not super into recruiting the way that some people are. But I realize that's not true. I think I just wasn't into it in all the years we were bad. So now I catch myself like a fan going to the site I work for to catch up on the caliber of players that are visiting Florida State at any given time. And I go through the names. Now, I'm not watching video, Ira. I'm not breaking it down. I'm not looking at all their video from their high school games. I haven't gone that far yet. But I do look at certain players, and then I look at the caliber of those players, and my chest swells with pride as I recognize how much better this staff is getting at recruiting the high school ranks. Because they're going to finish if you look at where they'll finish this year, and then also what's being made possible with the caliber of players that come to visit now because of the wins on the field, like if you project, what would we say is the least amount of wins this team could have? 9?
If they have less than 9,
if they have less than 9, I'm ripping Norvell.
Without horrible injury luck, I would say 8 or 9 at the bottom of the floor.
There are some problems to discuss if we were out here losing 3 or 4 games with this roster and this schedule. That we got a problem. We're going to have a different discussion. But anyhow, the point would be, I don't want to turn negative.
So you're likely going to have 10 plus wins.
That's the point. So now you've got wins. You're racking up the wins in back-to-back seasons. And the standard of success has been altered, right? The bar of success has been altered to where now it's not even a second thought that you're figuring yourself. When we go to 12-team playoffs, you're figuring Florida State is a mainstay in a 12-team playoff. With the momentum they have, the successes they're about to have this year, again, without terrible injury luck, then they ought to recruit a top 5 class, go into next year. Like, we'll see what this year's is, top 10, certainly top 7 maybe. But then the following year, I'm guessing top 5, because winning begets winning. You just keep doing. This is why these other classes are so elite at places like Georgia and Alabama. They've been winning, and they've got good recruiters. Now, there is a part of that. But I think that's only going to get better for Florida State. And I continue to get really excited about now, because the comparisons I do on the regular are we good enough to beat Alabama? Are we good enough to beat Georgia? Is Florida State good enough to beat the best 3 or 4 teams in the country? That's what you're striving to get to. Well, that can only happen, and it's not going to be a thing where you can always use the portal. It can only happen if you're building a strong base and utilizing both opportunities, the portal being one of them, and then obviously a strong base from the talent that's in the state of Florida. And you're starting to see that now just by the visits. Look at the caliber of like receivers and running backs and defensive backs that are coming in to visit. Look at the quarterback, Kromenhoek. That kid's a stud. Like, they're getting those guys now.
Yeah, and it's not just for this class, like you said. It's those classes behind them. Like this past week when they had an elite camp, they had incredible players that are in the 2025 class, 2026 class. And again, those guys are coming up on their own dime now to compete in your elite camp as sophomores in high school. Because this is where they want to go. And you just got to keep it rolling. And it's funny, man, I was talking to somebody at the mega camp on Sunday about how really remarkable it is that they turned it around. And the reason I said it was because like I was listening to Papuchis coaching, right? And he's screaming at some kids. And I was thinking like Papuchis' voice, I mean, imagine it would grate on you probably, right? If you were a player, because he's got that, it's just such a distinct voice and he's always screaming. Yeah. He's an intense guy.
Yeah.
But once you have Jermaine Johnson and then you've got Jared Verse and then you've got Patrick Payton, like I bet the kids love that now. Like they want him to coach them because they see what, and so it's pretty remarkable when you think of like to come into a program, go 3-6, go 5-7, but then flip it. And now like it changes how recruits even look at you and how they view you. It change those results on the field change everything, man. And like you said, if you can have another year on top of it, it's only going to get better.
These camps, they didn't get any commitments from this camp, right? But I don't know that they were expecting any. But for the people that aren't that familiar with recruiting, Jeff's right. Just getting these guys on campus is a step. The next step is they all commit en masse and everybody celebrates a top 2 or 3 recruiting class. But for now, the biggest step is getting them here, right? And then you continue to play well on the football field, and the guys that showed up for your mega camp and then come on an official in the fall will be committing to you. That's how the game works now. And it's just a big deal that because 2 or 3 years ago, well, out of 3 years ago, they didn't have a camp, but 2 years ago, they weren't getting this caliber, were they?
No, and that's the thing. They called it their elite camp. But it wasn't all that elite. Like the players that were there were not all that. Now it's an elite camp with elite prospects.
Yeah, this is my larger point about me lying about not caring about recruiting. I was paying attention 2 years ago of the caliber of kids they weren't getting to come to these camps. And it was pissing me off because the only way out of the hell we were in is to get the future to come up here and interact, to learn what you're all about, to hear your message, to see your style of coaching, to have one-on-one opportunities with them, because he had such a precious little opportunity to travel throughout the state when he first got here. Didn't have relationships. The staff itself really wasn't anchored in the state of Florida. So you had to get kids here and let them know we're not going to be bad forever. I got a plan, man. We're moving in this direction. Because the one thing that clearly stood out was that those people who sat across from Mike Norvell and others, Alex Atkins, for example, were impressed. They did come away intrigued. They wanted to hear more. That explains how you got yeses from people in the portal for a program that had been sub 500, was because their messaging worked. And so when they weren't getting, as Ira was pointing out, they were calling it their elite camp or their mega camp. There were a lot of players here that you were like, this is an average ass player. That's a 3-star kid that's going to go play at Southern Miss.
Yeah.
Good for him. I mean, he's still better than 99% of the people that are playing high school football. I get it, but that's not the caliber of elite player you got to have coming to your camp if you're going to flip it and become a national contender. And so I was getting worried because last year, going into last year, if they had not had that season, guys, he's a dead man walking. I said it over and over again because you would not get kids to come to camps. They wouldn't believe, and they'd say, listen, at some point, I love all the things he has to say, but you guys haven't had a winning season. I'm not coming here. I'm being recruited by Clemson. I'm being recruited by Georgia. Why would I come here? I don't care if he's a great guy. So they had to have that season, and they did. And they're about to back it up with another, I think the three of us think, a really great season. I would be surprised if they don't win 10 games.
Somebody asked me, I'm going to interrupt you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me on Wake Up Warchant, would you have rather beaten Oklahoma twice in Oklahoma City or win the Cheez-It Bowl? And the thought being, obviously, your first instinct is obviously because of who that Oklahoma softball team is.
Well, also it's for a national championship.
Correct. But 10 wins, I don't think we can overstate just what – I mean, it's just a bowl game, and they didn't have half their team, and you didn't even play all that well. But getting to say you got 10 wins, finishing top 10 in the country is an enormous deal when you're trying to do that, when you're trying to climb a ladder, I thought. I still probably lean towards knocking off that softball team just because it's a bowl game. But, man, I don't think you can overstate how big those last two wins were. To get to 10 wins, even if you didn't play well, Jordan Travis certainly did. But what it did for the momentum going into next season in the hype, because the hype means something, man. It doesn't mean something once September 3rd, 82 DJ Norris days from now. It doesn't mean something. But it does in the 6 months, 7 months leading up to it. It makes your program matter again.
I thought Norvell and the coaching staff were really smart during those practices. Remember, the players started talking about how they had the 10-win signs in the locker room, and they wanted to add their year. That's something that the players didn't notice. That, man, those guys walk by those pictures and signs, and I don't know how often they actually look at them, but the coaching staff definitely pointed it out and said, look, that's the standard. We want this team. You want to be remembered. You're on that wall every time you come back for the rest of your life. When you bring your kids, but you're one of those teams, and that was huge for that team, and it helped them prepare for that game. And I also think, the Florida game and the Oklahoma game were huge because even though they didn't look great, nobody's going to remember that. Like fans, hardcore fans will remember some of their issues they didn't love defensively or whatever, but all you'll see is wins, and those are big name teams, and you got wins against them. So yeah, I think those are huge.
So you're saying you would take the football?
Softball national championship's tough to say no to, but I think when you think of what's important to a program and like the changing
or a website, what's important to a website, perhaps?
I'm going to say to a program.
Okay.
I would say the football might end up being more important, man. Like it could be a big deal because I don't know if the recruiting success would be the same if you're coming off an 8 or 9 win season.
It's funny because I have opinions about non-playoff bowl games or BCS championship games and things like that. A lot of times I think we make too much of bowl games and they feel important to the fans, but a lot of times they don't. We've seen statistical evidence that teams that have lost a bowl game and then turned around the next year and went undefeated, and teams that have won one didn't turn around and have the kind of year they were hoping to have. But I'm going to agree with both of you here because I changed my mind after that game when I saw the way Florida State was characterized by those covering college football across the country afterwards. It did create in the minds of many this idea that Florida State was about to take this huge leap and go from being just a good team and a nice story last year to an elite team. And I think if they had lost to Oklahoma, perhaps that storyline, that narrative would not have been told across the board the way that it has in so many outlets this offseason. I mean, anybody that covers the game has written the Florida State story. We all go on shows. We get asked to go on shows. It's the first thing that comes up when you're on somebody else's show in a different part of the country. Like, well, Florida State certainly ended well last year with all those wins, and you got the win over Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a name, even if they were having a bad year and half their roster was out. What it also does, though, and I agree, it was important. But I think because they had their troubles against teams that had good offenses or teams that had some equivalent talent, it does kind of change things. It puts these games now are on a different place. The radar is up because you realize they got to get better. They've got to get better. So they're going to be held to a higher standard this year than they were last. Last year, they just had to have the year, and you need some breaks. And they got some breaks, and they made their own breaks in some cases, and they won 10 games. They've now got to execute better. If you're going to beat LSU and you're going to beat Clemson on the road or in the ACC championship game, and let's say you make the college football playoff, you're going to be playing different caliber of teams. You got to play better against good teams. And so it worked both ways. It benefited you, but it also now we can hold them accountable for taking the next step, and let's see if they do that.
Yeah, I think, and we had this argument, like you said, we had this argument 10 years ago, probably on this show, about do bowl games matter in terms of momentum? And I think at the time,
I think it might have been 13 years ago or 12 years ago. It was the South Carolina win.
Right.
And Corey, what did that mean going forward?
Right. And Corey and I were on the other side of it, but I later came to agree with you. I don't think it has a tangible impact on the next season, but from a perception standpoint, it does. And I think
perception and hype, I think that matters.
That's
right?
where it does matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
because you got the perception around the country that's a team on the rise, and that beating that SEC team, South Carolina, beating them like you did, and then getting to that 10th win. I think that was their 10th win that season.
9th, I think.
I thought they got to 10. I think that was 10 in
first
Jimbo's
year.
You're
right.
You're like, oh man, that's why they're preseason number 4 in the country. Now it was a year ahead of schedule, and they weren't that good. It turned out, but it got all that hype. It got them. It helped them probably close with the number 1 recruiting class in the country. I just think every win matters, especially late in the season. Now, it's different now, though, man, because these bowls are so ridiculous when half the team isn't playing.
Yeah, but also,
for a team that's trying to come up.
That's the point.
A team that's trying to come up.
It doesn't matter to Alabama.
And it doesn't matter to Oklahoma, honestly. Right. It mattered to Florida State in a very specific instance, which was last year, a 10th win. It's more confirmation of what you're building. And it also gets the hype going. And I just want to say this to all the Oklahoma softball fans out there that are listening.
Suck it.
And I said this on Wake Up Warchant, Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley. Hey, congrats on your softball titles, guys. But Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley left Norman, and so did the best softball pitcher in the country. Yeah. So did Jordy Ball. What is wrong with Norman, Oklahoma? That they're the mass exodus of greatness.
Maybe it's not them, it's you.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, hang out on Twitter and do your Zapruder films about how that was really a strike, even though it ended up in the other batter's box.
Hour number 2, headliner questions forthcoming. Stay with.
Discover the taste of Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviche, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services has been Tallahassee's preferred residential electrician for over 30 years. Hi, this is Rowdy Lawson, and we've earned our reputation because we care about our customers, about quality, and about providing great service. We stand by every job we do and consider it a privilege to work on a family project like a new house, a custom addition, or a green renovation. For all your residential or service projects, call the good guys, Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services, 562-4111.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the 3rd one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Just to call away.
222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do.
Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the line when their comfort system fails, and a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away. Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Remember, if you don't have anything nice to say it really, really loud.
This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Barry knows school. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BearNoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Hey folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques, so whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, B-U-R-C-H orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Great to be with you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it always, just like we appreciate Birch Orthodontics. Yay, Dr. Birch. We don't do the same yay thing, but I do say yay, Dr. Birch.
You do say yay, Dr. Birch, but that wasn't a real energetic yay, Dr. Birch. I mean, I
realized
did we have some issue? Do we have an issue with the
No
orthodontics
issues.
last week or
I've
anything?
never had an issue. No, if anything, Clark's teeth are doing great. Bryce is doing well. I've got zero complaints. Have never had a complaint.
Let me. So if Clark's teeth come out of this,
this is a miracle. It's a miracle.
Like
There should be a 30 for 30 on this.
How
On his
Dr.
teeth.
Birch and her staff got those mangled ass teeth to look anything like a normal row of teeth is nothing short of a minor miracle.
what are you going to pick on him for in the future? Like, what are you going to once that's
there's
gone?
So many things. Ira, he's 13. He says and does dumb things by the minute.
On the regular, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to fathom some of the things that come out of his mouth, and you just shake your head. So
just smile, Clark. Just smile. Look pretty. Everybody's good. Does he still have long hair?
He cut it really short, and now he's grown it out again, and it's all poofinated and all over the place.
Good. Just like Brady. It's great. Great
All
look
the
these kids have.
All the middle school kids, all white middle school kids look exactly the same.
Crazy. It's embarrassing.
Nuts. They look
Ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Dr. Birch isn't going to fix your kid's hair, but she can't fix your kid's teeth or your grandparents' teeth or your wife's teeth or your husband's teeth, anybody's teeth. Bring somebody in with mangled teeth, and Dr. Birch and her staff will fix them. They do unbelievable work. They've done it for our families, and they'll do it for yours. BirchOrthodontics.com, B-U-R-C-H, orthodontics.com is a website. You can set up a free consultation. They've got payment plans. They just really take all of the pressure and stress off of it, and you'll leave with a winning smile.
Corey, tomorrow is Flag Day. Is that your birthday?
Come on, man. Don't act like you don't know. Of course it is. Are you crazy?
Well, I remember Flag Day.
Oh, of course, everybody does. It's a national holiday.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. Have you sent me a gift? I assume it's in the mail. I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could next day it.
I'm gonna guess yours to me, since my birthday was on Sunday, is also gonna be here today.
Yeah, man. How about we just keep it? I'll keep what I got for you. And you keep what you got for me. That's fair. I'm sure they're similar.
That works out nice then. That's cool. So you'll be 54?
What are you, 60?
I'm 52.
Oh my God. You might as well be 60. You're on the road to 60.
I caught up to Ira, and you're on the road to 50. So
I know, man. I'm not happy about it.
Come on in. The water's warm.
Boy, where does life go? Good grief.
When we're doing Seminole Headlines 10 years from now, and Ira and I are 62, or I'm 61 and he's 62, or I'm 62 and he's 63 because he's older.
And I'll be the young 58-year-old, 57-year-old.
It's gonna be
a different
show.
show.
A little depressing.
It is, man.
Well, it'll be something to celebrate. We'll be icons by then, if we're not already.
Right.
But it will be tough. I don't know that we'll mention Flag Day or Mob Day or Ira's Day at all. We'll just keep plowing on through. We don't want the audience to know at that point.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, you two look it, so we can't hide it for long. I still look like I could play 33, couldn't I, Ira?
Oh yeah, for
Especially
sure.
with the gray.
So,
I got to shave this. If I shave this, I think I could play.
You just got to dye it.
26.
Go back to dyeing it, buddy.
I should dye it. Yeah.
Just go ahead and get you some just for men dye for the day. Apparently they have now. I just saw a commercial for that.
For the day. I actually will do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that next time. Next time we're not in studio, I'm dyeing my goatee.
Are we ready for these? We ready for these
Yeah,
questions,
let's do
boys?
it. Let's do it.
Burke writes, and I alluded to this in the first hour, but I like this question. What's more likely, that our defense is better than expected or our offense is worse than expected? Good question, Burke.
I think, from a percentage standpoint, I think it's probably more likely percentage-wise that the offense is not as good as people expect, because I think people's expectations are so – I don't know how they can live up to the expectations at this point.
I agree with this.
We're having to I keep having to catch myself because you sound like a 7-year-old when you're like, how's anybody going to stop us? It's just like, but that's kind of where you're at. So it's more likely, right?
I think that's accurate. Do you, Corey?
I do. I think maybe not a better question, because expectations is so subjective. Like I still think my answer to that is the defense, because I don't expect the offense to average 50 points a game. But I also I would be stunned if they're not as good as they were a tick better than they were last year.
You'd be stunned if they're not better. They got a better
offensive
line. They've got better receivers. They've got better tight ends. You got
so how do we measure that?
Travis.
Do we measure that in points per game, efficiency? Like, I don't know how we measure that, because you are going to lose some plays with the new clock rules. But I think I would be stunned if it's not a tick better, at least a tick better than it was last year.
No, I think it'll definitely be better. I just don't know if it's going to meet whatever the expectations are. I think, there's a feeling like this is going to be an offense that's just going up and down the field.
How about just our collective expectations? Not everybody else's, but just the three of us.
Let's just define our terms. Do the three of us agree that this offense will be a top five, by any measurement, basically, anything that matters, a top 5 offense in the country next year?
Oh, I don't know, because there's the pace of play. I don't know
the pace of play and all that.
All right. So somebody's going to fill that top 5, guys, regardless of pace of play. We're going to low.
With the metrics where you take that out, I guess.
Yards per play, points per possession, those kinds of metrics. Are you going to tell me that they're not going to be one of the best 5 offenses in the country?
But what if they're 7th? That means they're still really effing good. You know what I mean? Like, I expect them to be.
So the exercise was meant to define terms.
Yeah.
Fine.
So I would say if you told me top 10, I would be more in line with top 10. Yeah.
In their sleep, they'll be a top 10 offense. They were
Listen to this guy. I love it.
Guys, they were a top 10 offense last year, basically. That's
sure. All right. I'm with you, man. I think they're going to be awesome.
How could they not be? Like, I will be the fan here for a second.
7-year-old. You're going to be that 7-year-old.
I'll be Ira's 7-year-old here telling you that my team's better than yours. How in the world are they not going to be better? Better offensive line.
Yeah.
They're 5 deep in the backfield. They've got Jordan Travis back. Your receiving core is better. You got real tight ends for the first time ever. Sweet.
And it's the second year with Norvell and Atkins working together. Yeah, it all lines up. I think the question, though, as it pertains to the question is, I'm not expecting 50 points a game, and I'm not expecting the best offense in Florida State history. So that's where we were trying to define the terms. I definitely think they'll be better. I would be stunned if they're not better. But I don't know if that will live up to the collective expectations of we should score 48 points on every team we play that Florida State fans think.
Well, right. You do have the road game against Clemson. You got LSU right out the bat. It's unlikely against really elite teams that have good players to do something about it.
If they put 50 on Clemson, that's when I'll start to believe. That's when I'll start to believe, gang. They've done it before.
That's when you'll no longer posit that somebody could be a problem.
Yes, exactly right. I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be fun again.
Wake's in trouble.
The Wake will be in trouble. God help us. Wake needs to be in trouble. That needs to be an absolute reckoning.
Yes. Which happens first? Miami is back, or FSU gets out of the ACC?
Ooh, I'm going to say FSU gets out of the ACC first.
But Miami's never going to be back, apparently. I thought there was a chance, once the NIL came into play and they had a billionaire benefactor that was giving them all the money, but turns out that was a house of cards, and he's another Nevin Shapiro. So who knows, man? Who knows?
And look, I mean, there's nobody you talk to in this industry that is hearing good things about what's happening at Miami. Like when you look at the coaching turnover, the coaches who have left that staff, I mean, there's no good conversation. Even when things weren't going great there, you would hear positive things from different corners about what was happening there. Maybe Mark Richt's going to be the difference there or whatever. Like people I talk to in the business, man, there's nobody that talks well of what's going on at Miami right now.
It's been 20 years, guys. Well, it's been 20 years since that game in Tally in the rain with Richt's throwing to Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
That was like the last great day of the Miami dynasty was 20 years ago. And I will say there is a chance, right, with NIL, because if NIL didn't exist and it was just the same game it was in 2015 and 14, I would say no chance because their facilities are so bad. And the stadium's 45 minutes from campus and the fan base sucks. But with NIL, you could theoretically pay for a great roster that gets to live in Miami. So there is that element to it. Maybe there's a sliver of a chance that they find somebody that can bankroll a very good football team, but it's a sliver.
I don't think that works. I don't think billionaires are going to just pour money.
Agreed.
It's not going to work that way, I don't believe. But look, to your point about facilities, guys, think about this, the state of Florida. And this is a better conversation about what's going to happen in the state of Florida moving forward. USF just approved funding for an on-campus football stadium today. They just approved it today. Miami still does not have that and has not had that and won't have it anytime soon. Think about that. USF. And I've said for a while, and I really believe this, Deion Sanders is a fool. He should have taken the USF job. You look at the talent-rich area you're in. If you can get an on-campus facility and you can get people to stay on campus in Tampa, I mean, dude, they could be a monster. They could be Levitt knew that. Levitt got them up as high as ranked number 2 in the country. There was momentum there. It all fell off when he decided to strangle a kid in the locker room. But they had real momentum at one time. I've always felt like USF and or UCF would be a giant in the sport at some point, but they needed to obviously to build a tradition, and it starts with having an on-campus facility, I think.
So they'll take Miami's spot.
They just approved it, and Miami still doesn't have it. It's crazy to think about that.
Sorry, Canes.
Where these two teams will be like, I don't know, in 10 years. More rushing TDs this year. Lundy or Rodemaker?
Lundy or Rodemaker?
Probably Lundy.
Man, I don't know. Do you think Lundy still does that at all, or do you think that becomes like Jaheim Bell's role on short yardage?
Yeah, I think that becomes Jaheim Bell's role.
I think that's a way to keep Jaheim Bell happy if he's not catching 7 balls a game. Anytime you're on the goal line, he's in there. He's also good at it. He had 25 carries and a win over an SEC team. He is a running back. I think that's but then they like London. Yeah.
But there's two parts of that equation. And Tate Rodemaker is not going to have more than 1 rushing touchdown.
Correct.
So
You're right. That's a good point.
I'm going to go with Lundy.
That's a good point.
Tate's probably going to have 0. Because even if he's in a game, he's not running for a touchdown.
Yeah, it's unlikely. Hey, guys, everyone seems to believe
he's a better athlete than you think, right?
It's not because
and stuff.
It's not because he can't run, and you don't know what I think about his running ability.
He had a big run against Louisville.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's great. But he can move a little bit.
We
got into hour number 2, and Ira got testy.
I just thought it was funny. It was a funny opportunity.
Assuming everyone exits fall camp healthy, who are the starting 5 on the offensive line? That's a good one.
This was tough because when we did our top 40, like we were all having to kind of reconcile.
That was the really tough part. Yeah. It's like I didn't know who to put where. Like is there a clearly defined guy that will absolutely start?
Maurice Smith. We'll start at center.
Jeff doesn't believe that. And I'm not sure I believe it. I do believe it because
you guys are on drugs.
What they feel about Maurice Smith, but they like Roddick and they want him to play somewhere.
Okay, so well, he just snapped the ball.
But that's the one. But it's like out of all the guys they have 9 guys that could potentially start. So it makes it hard to rank who's the more important one because you don't know. The only one I don't think will start is Darius Washington, but he's a really important piece too.
Right.
So who knows?
I think Bless Harris is going to start. And then from there, we kind of get into more about who's got a rock solid position on this offensive line. I think the beauty of this competition is that you wouldn't say any of these guys are guaranteed.
Right.
Because they have the competition.
If I had to pick 5, I'm going Rob Scott, left tackle. I'm going Roddick, left guard. I'm going Maurice Smith. I'm going
Dimitri Emmanuel.
Oh, no.
And Bless Harris.
So we don't think Byers starts?
I'm not sure he's going to start, man. I don't have him as high as you guys do. I like him. I think he's a tremendous athlete. I'm not sure he starts, at least not right away. We'll see.
I think Byers starts somewhere. I don't know where, though.
I think Byers will start somewhere, but here's the good point that we're making is that you have this many options where it's fair for Ira to give that top 5, and I give a different top 5, and you give a different top 5, and none of us sound crazy. It's like it could be a hodgepodge of like 9 guys that we move around in different places. And it will be fascinating to see how good is Rob Scott when he comes back, because I feel like it was a bad camp for him to miss. It's not his fault.
Except when you started for 3 years. I don't know that spring is that big of a deal.
I do. I think it's a big deal when you finally have the kind of depth that Florida State's offensive line has. They haven't had this offensive line the entire time he's been here. He was thrust into starting role.
I think Alex Atkins, though, it's going to be like what they used to say about heavyweight championship.
Yeah,
to take the belt, you can't take it.
I'm not saying he won't win the job. I'm not saying that at all. I just thought it was
he doesn't even. Somebody has to beat him out, like not like 51 to 49%. It needs to be 60 to 40 because he knows Rob Scott and he knows Maurice Smith. It's not saying it can't be done, but those guys will be hard to knock off because
especially when you open with LSU.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think if you've got 3 or 4 guys that have started for you in the past, I think that might be. Now, again, things could change as the year goes on, but that's my guess for the first.
But man, it is like more to the point. It's cool that you don't know, and all the options are good options.
It's really cool that you don't know, and it's really cool that we can debate it level-headedly and say, yeah, that's fair. I don't know, this guy might get moved here, and that they have. When I had Alex Atkins on before camp started, I said, how many do you have competing for 5? And he said 12. I said, legit 12? And he said 12 for 5. So that was cool. And I mean, I believe him. He's a straight shooter. I mean, obviously only 5 will win the job, but when you got that many guys competing for spots, you're in a world's better position than Florida State's been in eons, maybe even better position in some ways than they were in 2013.
Well, more depth.
Yeah,
I mean, it might not be the ceiling probably isn't as high with some of these guys. They're not, first round picks potentially, but it's a solid group of 9 or 10 guys.
Cool position to be in. Real quick one before we take a break here. Hey, guys, everyone seems to believe we'll have a rematch with Clemson at the end of the year. Maybe could be a national championship game. I'm thinking if we make the playoffs, we may rematch LSU as well. Yeah, Dabs, I brought that up last hour. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a possibility, certainly. It tells you how good your opponents are in 2 of the first 4 games you play.
Yeah, that you might have to play them both again.
I mean, damn it, man. Seems likely that they're going to play one of those 2 teams again. Obviously Clemson would be more likely if we assume the ACC.
What if you beat LSU 48-6? Sorry, Tigers, you're done.
Yeah, not a safe assumption for LSU to get back and rebound.
Yeah,
from 48
hope you enjoyed Epcot.
That would be
your season's over.
That would be something. That would be something. We'd be walking out of that stadium feeling it's some kind of way.
Yeah, that'd be a great post-game show.
Holy moly! I mean, at that point, you would just say unequivocally, "This is the best team in the country." You're watching the best team in the country. That's what you'd say. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Jerry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I gotta have more cowbell.
For about 50 years, Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses for thousands of people right here in the Big Bend, and we're quite proud of that. Fact is, all of us here at Paul's have families, and nothing is more important to us than their protection. By providing effective termite and pest treatments, we know we're aiding many right here in our community.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control performs many services designed for the protection of your family and your home. Programs like Pro Shield Complete, which encompasses termite and general pest control in one low-cost quarterly treatment plan. This program is environmentally friendly and is almost exclusively limited to exterior treatments, meaning pests and termites never enter your home. Termite programs like Centricon, a service which requires no invasive drilling or liquid applications. Plus, our lawn care team keeps lawns and ornamentals green and healthy.
Protection of your family, your home, and our environment all are very important to each of us at Paul's. To learn more about our many programs, please visit us at callpauls.com.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers, and that's not all, Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270-146.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
MLB is in full swing, and MyBookie is going to be your one-stop shop for all your betting needs. Wide range of betting options, including money lines, run lines, totals, and futures. MyBookie gives you plenty of ways to bet on your favorite teams and players. You can also take advantage of brand new MyBookie Money Bag, which gives you a chance to secure a bet on your favorite team or player at insanely boosted odds. Sign up today at MyBookie. Use promo code WARCHANT to secure a first deposit bonus of up to $1,000. It's simple. Deposit $200, play with $300 instantly. Just use promo code WARCHANT to claim your bonus. If you're a baseball fan looking to add even more excitement to the new season, look no further than MyBookie. Sign up now and get ready to experience the thrill of baseball like never before. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Let's keep it rolling, guys. Here we go. This one's for Jeff. Okay, what if you got the call from the SEC saying FSU was going to join the conference, but then they asked you to vouch for Miami? They'll do whatever you say. What do you tell them? Oh, well, I'll answer it, but I want to hear your all's answer too. I'd say, fine. That's fine. Miami's in. Whatever. I don't – if they want me to vouch for Miami to get into the conference.
No, I don't think that was the – he just said they would do whatever you said. Like, it sounds like Florida State's in. They're just asking you your opinion.
It's not contingent on anything? No, yeah. I'm not vouching for Miami. They can go to hell.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say.
Yeah. No. I thought this was an if-then. Yeah, no, okay, I got you. My bad. So I'm reading comprehension, Jeff. I'll tell you that I'm not vouching for Miami if I don't have to ever.
Well, I mean, the reality is, like we just talked about in the last segment, like how could you at this point? I mean, there's not even if you took away your own biases and like how you feel about Miami, How could anybody really vouch for them?
I'm vouching for USF, Ira, on campus.
You are.
Let's go.
No, you're not vouching for an in-state school. It's like vouching for Life Wallet. Nobody would do that right now. You wouldn't do that with Miami either. Like nobody's going to tell somebody in the stock market, hey, put a lot of money in Life Wallet. That's what Miami is right now. It's just nothing. Now they could be something, but not enough for us to vouch for them. And Florida State could survive without that annual, without the annual wide right highlights, right? We would never see the wide right highlights again.
Okay, so listen, you're getting to the second part of the question that's intimated there, which is, do I value the rivalry in its game? No matter how much I hate that team, would I want that game to go away? And truthfully, I don't think either side wants that game to ever go away.
But you wouldn't bring them along to the SEC or the Big Ten just for that purpose.
I wouldn't.
You can make other rivalries.
The game's traditions have already been bastardized in a way that it's unrecognizable. So I guess that would just be one more that would see, go the way of the dodo. It would be disappointing. It would directly affect, it's like I remember, when Maryland joined the Big Ten, there were Maryland basketball fans who cared deeply about their presence in the ACC, and they thought it would never be the same. And they're right. It's probably never going to be the same for them. But basketball no longer matters. I'm sure they're enjoying that Big Ten money. The
fans aren't.
No, fans aren't, but the university is.
Yeah,
and
they're not doing anything with it.
But it puts them in a position maybe to be good in basketball again. Who knows? But, man, I don't like all of the changes to college football. I understand where we're at. Can you imagine? It would suck. What if Florida State and Florida didn't play anymore, and Florida State and Miami?
Yeah.
I know if we joined the SEC, we'd play Florida, but
I'm with you, man. Yeah, it always, even today in 2022 and 2023, when you see those two helmets on the field against each other,
yeah,
it brings back some emotion and some remembrance, and so I do value it, but not enough to get them a free ride to the conference.
I'll say this though, man. Like, so over the weekend when I was out at that camp, and I ran into Lorenzo Booker, who was there with his son. I wrote a story that's on the website, and there's a video with Lorenzo as well.
By the way, the first ever, I think, public put on a hat commit in recruiting history. Yeah, because that was an ESPN broadcast.
Yeah.
But he, when we were talking and just started talking about memories, like literally the first thing that came up was the first time they beat Miami, because Miami had the streak against them in the early 2000s, and they finally got the win against them here, and then went back down there and won the next year. And those weren't even great Miami teams at that point, but that's the first thing those guys remember. Now think about the guys in the 90s. Like, and I know those games didn't always go well, but man, like just when you hear those guys talk about those games, to think of that not really being part of the landscape anymore sucks. So I think you need to figure out a way to keep it. But it could be a challenge. I mean, that's if this thing goes to two conferences, and if one's in one and one's in the other, it may be hard to keep that rivalry.
It would be weird. It'd be weird, but on the same token, I mean, obviously, I'm speaking from a pro Florida State side. If you join the SEC, and I grant you it's a 12-team playoff, and you might be able to have 3 losses and get into the playoff these days when that happens. But, man, if you join the SEC and you play Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and then they're like, well, do you want to keep your rivalry with Miami? I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to play that game at that point.
You're sounding like Spurrier and the Gators in the, in the 90s.
At that point, it'd be tough. It'd be tough. Okay, let's keep it going. Ira, it was great meeting you in OKC, writes Dustin.
Is this that woman? Oh, it's not the woman. I thought it was the woman that was yelling at the photographer.
No. She wasn't Dustin.
After the rain delays, it was a long 3-hour drive back to Kansas. Love the show, guys. Keep up the good work. So you met somebody named Dustin who lives in Kansas?
That was actually he and his buddy came. I'm 99% positive he and his buddy came up to the press box to say hi. Super cool. I mean, it's one thing like somebody walks by you, but like they came up to say hi and tell me how much they like the show. So
cool. I think it's awesome. Yeah. I'm not making fun of that at all. I'm just saying.
But yeah, they drove people. Our guy Wilson, Wilson he drove up from Amarillo, Texas, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a good little drive there. With
Shane and Michelle, Kirk Noel drove up from Dallas. Yeah.
Yep.
My man Spencer flew out from Tallahassee to go. Yeah, man, we got Florida State was
no, Florida State fans did a great job. I'm just intrigued by anybody that lives in Kansas. I want to know more about Kansas.
Where does he live?
Kansas, Dustin.
Yeah.
I didn't ask all those questions.
I would have been like, dude, that's a toughie. What gives you more concern about hitting the ceiling of this season? Players playing up.
Can I tell you one more quick Oklahoma City story?
Sure.
Little scandal.
Is it
ESPN,
about Dustin?
Little ESPN drama.
Oh.
No, but this was so apparently, and I get, it would have been a lot sweeter if Florida State had won the national title. But it still kind of gives you an idea of why some people feel the way they feel about ESPN. So the day before the championship series, they were doing photo shoots with players from both teams, and like when they did the photo shoot with the Oklahoma players, they had them posing with the championship trophy and all that. Well, then they started to do photos with the Florida State players, but apparently the trophy wasn't there, and they were like kind of in a rush, and they were kind of like, well, we're not going to have the trophy. So then some of the Florida State players were like, wait a minute, did Oklahoma have the championship trophy when they posed for pictures? Well, yeah, they did, and we can get it. And then the Florida State players were like, no, cool, we don't really need to do these pictures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how it was resolved totally. I think ESPN tried to make it good, but it was just kind of one of those funny things that,
dude.
So now we can go back and watch the beginning of that broadcast because they do all the shadowy pointing at you shots and see which Florida State players are in that, because those are going to now be my favorite players. The ones that were like, what are we doing here? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this unless you bring me the trophy.
I can't remember exactly how they resolved it. I think they tried to resolve it. But anyway, it was just it was one of those things, like just another thing for, FSU's like family, the parents. You
just want to add to conspiracy.
Exactly.
They should have gotten the umpire posing with the championship trophy, but she can't see it. She drops it.
Kristen writes, what gives you more concern about hitting the ceiling of the season? Players playing up to potential every game, or Norvell and staff making right coaching decisions?
I thought that was Dustin.
No.
Oh, Dustin just said, happy to meet you, Ira.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good job, Dustin.
Dustin also said, love the show. Keep up the great work.
There you go, D-Train.
Hey, pal. I already read Dustin's question.
Sorry.
My fault.
What was it?
Corey wants to put Dustin on blast for something you said he said, and he just didn't hear it.
No, my fault, Dustin. Dustin, my fault, man. Hey, next time I'm near Kansas and you're there, come up to the press box and say, hey.
Kristen's question is, what gives you more concern about hitting the ceiling this season? Players playing up to potential every game, or Norvell and staff making right coaching decisions? I'm going to say players playing up to their ability. I'm not really worried about the coaching decisions. Certainly not Norvell. I do think this season could prove to be a referendum for some guys on defense, but we'll see.
And also, it will be an interesting fourth down season.
He doesn't
when you go for it, when you don't.
He doesn't probably have to do nearly as much of the nonsense, I wouldn't think, unless neither of these two guys can kick again. I mean, what's the? I mean,
but even if they can kick, if it's 4th and 3 from the 28, and you have your offense, do you want to just settle for maybe 3 points or go for a touchdown?
I like that he's aggressive, and I want him to be aggressive, but I think he was unreasonably aggressive because he knew he couldn't count on his kicker to make a kick. So
well, here's what they have to get better at, because they will go for it on 4th down. They have been dog blank on 4th down conversions since he got here. They go for it a lot, and they're the worst, one of the worst in the country each of the last 2 years.
Think of how bad those teams were, Corey. He's now got,
last year they were bad at it.
No, Corey, think about this now. Now you've got a 6'7" tight end, a 6'4" tight end, a 6'7" wide receiver, a 6'2" wide receiver. You got a quarterback who's mobile, and you got a 225-pound.
Yeah, you got to convert. You just got to convert better at it.
Well, and you have an offensive line that when the other team knows they're going to run, you should still be able to run. They didn't even have that last year. I mean, that's the thing I always felt like about the red zone complaints and the short yards complaints. A lot of it is, and they didn't have guys that could actually move people. We'll see if they do, but I think they've got a better chance now.
I will. And the only thing I'll say, because we got a break and I want to get to rapid fire some questions here in a second, but I don't know. And we see this in the NFL now, where they have the best offensive lines in the world, presumably, right? With the mass on defensive lines now and these big formations that they're able to put out there defensively, 4th and 1 against 325-pound guys across the line, it's no way to make a living, man. The best teams, it's so hard to do. Even Jimbo talked about this towards the end of his time here. He was like, yeah, well, I think that math is changing just because I don't care how good your offensive line is. It's hard to move those kinds of guys when they know you're going to do it. When they know you're going to do it, you do have to have a fighting chance, and they finally have a fighting chance to do that. Though, to your point, Ira. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
All right, headliners, Ira here. By now, you know the best way to support our show is to head over to our Shopify store for exclusive gear. Well, Shopify has been so impressed by your support of Seminole Headlines that they want you to know more about how easy it is to elevate your business with the industry-leading tools at Shopify. That right there is the sound of another sale on Shopify, and you'll hear it a lot when you let them revolutionize your business the way they've done for millions of businesses worldwide, just like Seminole Headlines. You can sell anything from fine art to Yay sausage shirts to your wife's crochet, as long as you let her know. And you can also use Shopify for online sales like we do, or even for face-to-face business. They have all-in-one platforms for e-commerce sales and point-of-sale systems, and they allow for seamless marketing via social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Shopify makes the whole process simple so you can focus on what you do best. Their user-friendly tools mean you don't have to get a degree in web marketing or web design in order to sell your merch. When I set up our Seminole Headlines page, I didn't leave the process with a headache. I was done in a few simple clicks. If I can do it, you definitely can do it. This is Possibility powered by Shopify. Now it's your turn. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/warchant. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/warchant, all lowercase, to take your business to the next level today. Be an elite headliner. Go to shopify.com/warchant and let Shopify elevate your brand the way they did for us at Seminole Headlines.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. Well, you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand.
All right, we got 15 minutes to get to some questions. Let's get to it. In the Norvell offense, who would be RB1 and who would be RB2, Dunn or Cook? All right, there you go. I think either would work nicely.
I think Corey and Aslan were talking about this last week on Wake Up, talking about the conversation with Peter Warwick and work done. And I know you and Tom talked about it too. Jeff, but Dalvin, work done is so special. I mean, he's just a special player, special human being, but Dalvin to me is another level. And I just think, I don't know if there's any coaching staff that would say, I'm going with work done over Dalvin Cook. I just think Dalvin's, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think Dalvin's a better player. I mean,
I agree with that.
And Warwick Dunn was awesome. He might be maybe my all-time favorite Florida State player, but Dalvin Cook is, it's played out in the NFL. It played out when he was here. Didn't he break his rushing record?
Yeah.
It's Dalvin's a better player. It's not by much, but he is, and I think that's who Norvell would take.
It's amazing. Just an aside on the subject of running backs and how much the game has changed. Dalvin Cook is going to be released by the Minnesota Vikings. He's 27 years old. He's gone to 4 Pro Bowls. He's gone over 1,000 yards in every one of those seasons. He's still a premier back, but the position is devalued to the place that nobody pays running backs anymore. You better be Walter Payton in order to get paid like a running back now for a second contract. They just won't do it.
I love that when I interviewed Dexter Carter, when his son Devin committed to Florida State, he's a receiver because of that. Like Dexter Carter said, you're not going to be a running back because they don't value running backs. You're going to be a wide receiver.
I always thought it was the sexiest position in football over quarterback. I loved running backs growing up as a kid.
When we were kids, yeah, man, that's all you talked about was, like you said, Dorsett earlier.
Yeah.
That's all we talked about was running backs back in the day.
We were driving through Pensacola.
You wouldn't even talk about women or music. It was just all running backs.
Running backs.
Like William Andrews and Eric Dickerson. You guys would not shut up about it.
If you're 13 years old,
John Riggins.
Running backs, baby. That's what we were talking about. But we were back yesterday.
But sorry, I'll let you get finished. But just like thinking back, like your memories of football when you're a kid is like Larry Zonka having his jersey ripped off.
Yeah.
If you're old, that's your memory. My memory is Dalvin Cook as a freshman.
Right.
So
sorry,
Jeff.
Earl
Campbell running over people.
Earl Campbell,
Yeah, guys like that. Yeah,
Red Grange. You remember Red Grange? We'd watch those clips in the movie before Casablanca. They show the Red Grange clips.
Corey, I remember getting in an argument with you. I was telling you, you cannot compare player A to the Galloping Ghost. You just got to stop.
It's ridiculous. If Jeff Thorpe would run circles around all these guys.
It's not fair to a new guy like Burt Reynolds. You can't compete with those legends.
No, but I did. Even John Riggins and guys like that, just bruisers. It was fun to watch. But, yeah, man, I always loved running backs. And I also, they were called, as we all remember, feature backs. These were guys that got 25 carries a game.
30 carries a game, yeah.
Yes, minimum. They rode them to victory. Yeah, I missed that.
They used to always show the stat. These stats were always killed me. They would be like, oh, the Dallas Cowboys are 102 and Emmitt Smith gets 30 carries. Well, it's because – they're not behind.
Yeah.
So they're running the ball.
They're running the football. It's not just, if we come into the game and just give him the ball 30 times, we're guaranteed to win.
Timmy, to answer your question, we all have Dalvin as RB1. Jason writes, as a measuring stick to how far we've come, what would the score be between 2020 FSU versus 2023 FSU?
That's a good question.
I think 2020 would have called up and said they had a COVID test. I think that's
going to be the answer, guys. Corey, we can't top that.
I can't do that. Yep.
We got to leave that alone. Ira wins. If FSU finishes with 10 wins again, will this season be considered a failure? I asked this question because I did this with Tom. Tom's gung-ho. He thinks it's a national championship team. So I said, look, and he's not here to defend himself, so it doesn't matter if he said that or not. But what I said was he's like playoffs or bust or something like that. Right. I said, well, look, man, you're going to tell me if they go 10-2 in the regular season, this was a bust of a year? And he kind of said, yeah. So I don't know that I believe that. If you lose.
No, it's not a failure because let's say you lose to LSU and Clemson, but you beat your two in-state rivals again. You get to 10 wins again. You finish in the top 10 again.
And you're probably in the ACC championship game at that point.
Yeah. So you lose to Clemson again.
But the question tells you that we lose that game. So he's telling you that we're 10-3. And if we go 10-3 and lose the ACC championship game, and the losses in the regular season were to Clemson and LSU, it means you got swept by Clemson. Yeah, man, that's disappointing.
Here's the problem. Failure, though. It's not. I mean, that's the thing. It's just a tough one because I've talked about this with someone else too. The problem is you have a 6-year quarterback in Jordan Travis, who's been in the system for a long time. You've got all these transfers in. This is a shot. Like you've got a shot with this team. So that's the difference between like the 2012 team was disappointing because you lost to two teams you shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have lost those games, but you knew you were going to be good again the next year. This team could be good again in 2024, but you've got a window here, man. Like this, that's it. I'm not going to go into it and say it's playoff or bust, but I do think there'll be some disappointment.
Yeah, I just think the only thing I take exception with is failure. I don't think a 10-win season should be viewed as a failure anywhere, anytime for the rest of our lives. But it would be fair to be disappointed. It would be fair to be disappointed.
There are times where I think a 10-win season can be viewed as a failure.
Well, man, then we are living in high cotton, everyone. I mean, what a great life that would be to cover a team where if they win 10 games, we're like, fire the coach. This is
in 2014, if they had won just 10 games, that would have been a failure.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a case,
NFL team.
You can make a case it was a failure.
Yeah,
with just the one loss.
I was gonna say that can be a failure.
Because I just, it's funny, man. I just heard Ryan Russillo on a podcast talking about this. He brought up that 14 team and how mad that they got ESPN people got mad because they got so much grief from FSU fans that year when they weren't valued highly because they had all those close games. And he goes, well, and then we were validated at the end when they lost in Oregon. I'm like, no, you weren't, man. Like that Florida State Oregon wasn't better than Florida State.
Yeah, they had 7 turnovers.
They just kept giving the ball back to Oregon. Now you could say the lack of discipline and all that maybe manifested at that point, but you couldn't say that was not a dominant football team. It should have been a dominant football
Or
team.
deserving, at least. They were deserving to be there. That was ridiculous. They were better than Mississippi State.
R.A. writes, gentlemen, I have no problem with OU celebrations. To claim any criticism of celebrations based on sexism is inaccurate. Have they never read Corey's articles? Maybe they just listened to the Best of Jeff's show. Oh, where we're ripping the ladies for celebrations, over celebrations is his point.
I don't know that I've ever ripped a woman for celebrating.
The problem, I mean, and I'm not sure exactly.
No, the OU fans claimed it was sexism.
No, what was ridiculous was them slamming bats down for getting a walk is ridiculous. And it's awful for the sport because now you're going to have 12-year-old kids thinking that that's how you act when you get a walk. You slam your bat down and start, cheering. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man.
I blame Tennessee. I blame Tennessee men's baseball. I do.
Buddy, I'm sure you weren't watching, but Monday night, they clinched their berth to Omaha, and they brought in a kid in the 7th inning in a real pickle of a spot with the game still on the line that struck out 3 guys in a row throwing 101 miles an hour. Because, of course, why wouldn't Tennessee have another guy like that? And when he left the mound, it was like I don't even know how to describe it.
WWE event.
Unbelievable. He screamed into the camera. He chest bumped the whole. They couldn't even get in front of him because he was walking so fast, pumping his fist and screaming like he was an extra in Braveheart. And then he turns around and screams at the camera. It was out of control.
We may never sound older than
I don't care.
Right now,
it's ridiculous.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not demanding.
Give me Tommy Glavine.
No, I'm not.
Give me Fergie Jenkins. Somebody that's act like they've been there before.
I'm not doing that. But what I am saying is that's not emotion, man. It's all for stage.
It's all for show. Yeah, absolutely.
And I was just about to interject that, Ira. Here's the problem. None of us have ever had a problem with a kid scoring a touchdown and spiking the ball.
Or doing a dance.
I've never been a guy that's like, be like Barry Sanders and just give it back to me. I've never said that. Screw that. Dance in the end zone if you want to. It's hard to score. It's hard to score. Go ahead, celebrate.
I think they should be able to take off their helmets like they used to.
Me too. I don't have a problem with any of that. What I do hate is all this fake 4-camera consumption nonsense. The let's go scream is the stupidest thing ever. If people do it over and over and over again, I get so tired of it. This is the byproduct of living on camera all the time, the time. And it's the worst. And so you see somebody slam a bat after a walk or scream like they've just, I don't know, one strongest man in the world and walking off the mound. It's the dumbest thing.
I did. I started to tweet yesterday because a guy got hit and threw his bat down. And I started to tweet because I just turned on the game. And I started to tweet like, look at this idiot. He's throwing his bat down for getting hit. It was the 3rd time he got hit in the game.
Okay, he can do that.
He had it right.
Understood.
My man's like, damn it.
Yeah.
What are we doing out here?
Please.
Brian wants to know, this is kind of funny. Let's talk about a time you guys were really pissed at each other. Obviously, you're great friends. When was the last time half day? No, you went a half day not talking. Nope, I'm not talking to that asshat. This is, and then he goes on to say, this show's really good. Yes, Jeff, straight to the point. Really good show. All right. When was the last time we got that angry with each other?
Here's the thing though. Like when we do get mad at each other, like we're going to say it. Like I don't think any of us gets passive aggressive. Like
I don't think, you did last year during a show where you just stopped talking.
That was one time.
that was on the air. I was going to say, I don't think Jeff and I have ever had an argument off air. Like I bet we've gotten riled up
the way that you and I.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like we haven't worked together as long. We haven't known each other as long as. I mean, Ira and I go back. Golly, 25 years now. Good.
Yeah, we're old, buddy. We're old.
Man, but our arguments on air when we get riled up about sports opinions, they are genuine. You do get mad when I bring something up from 4 months ago, and that is a genuine reaction. but I don't think it ever goes. I don't think I've ever had like a real life argument.
You guys, there was something you guys in the spring, or what was the last time you guys really got into it? Like it was on the show. Like I was trying to
look at each other, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't either.
But that was like, that was about as heated as I've ever seen you guys anywhere.
You were sitting back like, holy hell, here we go.
But it was a sports thing. That's what I'm saying. It's just a dumb sports opinion. Yeah. It's not. I don't remember ever getting into like a real argument with Jeff, other than on the show when we're talking about dumb sports stuff.
Oh, if you guys,
Ira, I mean, good Lord, we've had
Jeff. If you travel with my guy once or twice.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's on me. It's on me.
So think about this.
I'll tell you the maddest I got at Ira, and I think I brought this up at the time. We were going to a Wake Forest game. I'm driving. Of course, he's on the phone with Kim because that was his whole life back then. Is like the phone rings, it's Kim, and he's the navigator, and so he's on the phone. He's supposed to be telling me when to turn. He gets off the phone. I'm in the middle lane. And he goes, "Oh, that's our exit right there." And I go, and then he gets mad at me for not cutting across traffic blindly 75 miles an hour to find the exit. And I'm like, okay man, we're going to have to turn around, but thanks.
But here's where the story starts, okay? Ira likes to get to the games in an early time because I want to be situated. Like I want to be there.
Yeah, you're a situated kind of guy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to get there. I want to know I'm there, not like trying to roll up right as the game starts. Corey takes a different approach. Well, Corey was driving.
What year was that? Must have been like we were at the Democrat, right? So 11
maybe something like that.
9. Were you at the Democrat at 2009?
No, I got there in 10.
Okay, all right.
And I think it was probably 11. So what a game that was. So we're going to the same, and the exit's there. I realized at the last second, I'm like, that's the exit. My point was, hit the brakes. Like slow down
on a highway.
Still get over there. Yeah, but we're in Winston-Salem, man. Nobody's on the highway. Some horses and so
an expressway, not an expressway.
Keeps zooming right by, like he never even thinks about tapping the brakes. And I'm just
Jeff,
like,
I'm in the right there, right? I'm not causing an accident.
Jeff, if like when there's an exit, there's that like that dead space between the exit and the road. You can pull into that little area.
So I'm getting pissed off all over again. I'm getting pissed off. It's real life, guys.
And we're late because we couldn't leave
weren't
early.
Late. We didn't miss anything.
It's happening all over again. Listen to this answer, everybody, because it's the last one we're getting to today. What I'm telling you is that the three of us love each other. We've raised our voice at each other many times. It could be over a sports opinion, maybe non-sports. It doesn't last very long because we all love each other. So it's usually like, all right, I'm going to take a step back here and try to see it through his eyes, and we'll have this discussion later or something like that. But it's never been like, I'm not talking to that asshat.
Only one of you guys will be best man at my wedding, though, so we got to figure out who that's going to be.
Well, it's obviously me.
I'm going to try to make this one, Corey.
Ira didn't even come to the last one.
Well, there we go.
Jinxed it. Ira jinxed it. He didn't even come.
I'm there.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff will be there. I bet Jeff would have come back then. He didn't even know me.
Well, and think about the way that I seamlessly guided you into your proposal.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, both of you guys were there, which was important.
I was driving, Corey. Think about how hard that was.
Yeah. Well, you did tell me it's time to propose, and she wasn't even on the deck. She wasn't even out there with us.
Well, that's because your wife-to-be just decides to up and leave despite having 40 friends in attendance who are telling her to stay. Was crazy.
It's time to go.
So it is time to go. And for Corey and Ira, I'm Jeff. Thanks, everybody, for watching, listening, all that good stuff. Good work out of UT, Lizzie. Talk to you later. Peace.